Oh, and the tough games keep coming. We are looking forward to a sensational match against Chelsea and Liverpool at the weekend. So let's have a little look at the team, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Blue Pride of London. I'm your host, Nathan, coming at you with another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, before we get started into this weekend's game, I'm going to ask you a favour. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button just down there, that would mean so much. And if at any point you enjoy this video, hit the thumbs like because it really does help out the channel. But let's move swiftly on to this weekend's Premier League game against Chelsea and Liverpool. So the tough games just keep coming. We are off to Anfield at this weekend and we are up against a Liverpool team which has a bit of a boost with Virgil van Dijk back in the defence, and by the looks of it, the front three are starting to fire once again. But this is a new Chelsea side. This is a Chelsea side which are kings of Europe. Yes, I'm going to keep reminding you until we get knocked out of this season that we are in fact the champions of Europe. Champions League winners. Yes, this is the type of team that we are right now, and you can't falter us. Our first two games have been a masterclass in the Premier League so far. We swiped aside a sort of like a mediocre Crystal Palace, and even though Arsenal aren't exactly firing on all cylinders, we sort of like brushed them to one side, also not even challenging us at one point. So you could probably say that this is probably our first tough test of the season, and it's only our third game going forward. So what do I expect from this particular game? I am quite confident at a Chelsea win. I think it's going to be a bit of a tougher game. I think it's going to be a fantastic battle in midfield, and I think our current back three wide players are going to stifle out the front three of Liverpool. Now, like always, we have some very, very tough games against Liverpool. I think this is definitely a 50-50 game going into this particular one. The last couple of seasons, they have had a slight upper hand going forward, but we have also seen a Chelsea team sort of determined not to be pushed to one side. And yeah, I do see a very sort of like tight game, especially in a midfield battle, trying to control that ball, trying to keep hold of that ball. I think the sort of possession level is going to be quite tight. It's going to be like 60-40, nothing sort of like dominant from either side. I do trust our team to sort of keep this momentum going, and I'm going to give you a bit of a prediction of what I think our team's going to look like considering what's been going in these last couple of games. So let's have a look at what team I think will play up against Liverpool. So the formation is exactly the same, and I'm not going to sort of deviate so much from the team that I chose to go up against Arsenal. Of course, Mendy is in goal. Let's just sort of say that he's not being knocked out of this at any time soon. And we're just going to go into our back three quite quickly. And I'm not going to change that whatsoever either. I think we're going to have Rudiger, Christensen, and Azpilicueta in our back three. I think those are our sort of currently favourites going forward. Yeah, we are playing Liverpool quite close. Even if we do bring in another defender within the next 24 hours, I can't quite see them being ready to start this game. Our wing backs, I'm not going to change these guys either. I'm going to have Alonso up on the left and James up on the right. He's going to sort of run up and down those wings and possibly terrorise the Liverpool back four. I think they're going to go in the four at the back. That's usually what they do. And I think it's going to be a lovely little battle. I think Reece James is going to have a bit more of a difficult game with this one. I think after seeing his sort of like match-winning goal performance against Arsenal, Liverpool are going to look at him and go, do you know what, we're going to need to sort of like try to control him just a little bit and try to sort of like snuffle him up so he can't keep running up and down that right wing, which is pretty much what Arsenal will let him do with immense freedom. After coming on as a substitute against Arsenal, I think Conte is ready to start a game. So once again, I'm going to stick him in that sort of like double pivot alongside Jorginho, because quite frankly, if he's the best player in Europe right now, why would you not play him? He is the ice man of Stamford Bridge. And just in front of them as well, I think it's going to be Mason Mount and Kai Havertz once again. Mason Mount, he just controls that gap between the defence and the midfield. He runs players ragged. He likes to attack the ball. He likes to run off people. And with Kai Havertz, who just seems to sort of like be everywhere at the moment, he just always seems to pick up the ball, little flicks. It is lovely to watch him play. And, you know, Lukaku is going to be up front. After a sensational debut start up against Arsenal, I think he's going to continue his sort of flow going forward. So that is my starting 11. So I'm going to give you my prediction for the game now. So like I said, I think this is going to be our first big test of the season. So I'm going for a Chelsea win, but just about. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Chelsea. I think we're going to concede our first goal because, you know, and let's face it, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile and they will give up every opportunity. They are a team sort of riding high a little bit at the moment. They are full of confidence. They are getting some of the best players back, which they sort of missed last season. And they're going to want to try to rectify the fact that they had an awful title defence last season and only just about made it into the top 4 pretty much in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season last year. So Klopp even sort of said, I cannot believe that we made it into the top 3, you know, 3rd in the table. So yeah, so I think this is going to be a very, very tight game. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's one of the teams that I now really, really look forward to playing. Like in recent years, in the last 10 years or so, there has been a fantastic rivalry building between Chelsea and Liverpool. Something which just sort of just came out of nowhere because we constantly played them almost without fail in some of the big games going in, especially in the Mourinho era, you know, when we sort of faced them in the Champions League and in the Cups, and we've had some sensational battles up against Liverpool, and they've always gone sort of like swayed to one way or the other. So overall, I don't think you can actually call this game. I think, you know, going into the Arsenal game, going into the Crystal Palace game, definitely, but I think this is going to be our first proper test. But as always, I would love to hear what you have to say. I don't get many comments at the moment and I'm dying to start a conversation. So please get your comments down there. What is your scoreline prediction? What do you think of my predictive lineup? Would you change any of the players going forward? And until next time, guys, enjoy the football and I'll see you later.